Hi everyone. There's been more reports this week from official bodies on just the state of the poor in the United Kingdom as a direct result of austerity measures that has been put on them by the last two governments in the country. Obviously the Tory government in power now with Theresa May, although that might change while I'm actually recording this video, and the previous one, the coalition with the Lib Dems. The two reports, the first one's by Human Rights Watch that came out Monday, and the other one was from a United Nations rapporteur that came out today that is likening it to Victorian workhouses. You know, this just the effects it's had on the poor in this country have been damning. I've been reporting on it now for a year. This is from Euronews, and this is about the Human Rights Watch report that came out Monday. It says UK government in clear breach of duty as families face poverty. Tens of thousands of poor families in the United Kingdom do not have enough to eat due to government cuts, Human Rights Watch said in a damning report released on Monday. The human rights organisation said the United Kingdom government was in clear breach of its duty to ensure food access. Clear breach. This is from Human Rights Watch. This is serious. The 115-page report included interviews with 126 experts, community staff, volunteers and families whose stories reveal a bleak struggle to make ends meet in the world's fifth largest economy. The UK's largest food bank charity, the Trussell Trust, for instance, documented, get this, a 5,146% increase in emergency food shipments between 2008 and 2018. 10 years on, there has been a 5,146% increase in the amount of food shipments. That's incredible. Quote, I skip meals so my daughter can eat, and coming to a food pantry means we can both eat, said Sarah, a 23-year-old woman with a 4-year-old daughter who the human rights organisation interviewed in Hull. Quote, when I skip meals, I get easily tired and don't have energy, but you get used to it. I'd rather that she have something to eat than me, she said. This is what people are facing on a daily basis. And they're down there in Westminster and they have not got a clue that this is going on as a result of these cuts. Indeed, successive UK governments have slashed welfare spending since 2010. The government capped benefits for families, froze increases to welfare, and withheld funds from welfare recipients, the report said. By transitioning multiple social security benefits and merging them into one credit, the universal credit, or as I call it, the Tory final solution, because that's what it is, the government delayed welfare payments to recipients and created a punitive system for receiving benefits. Yes, punitive system. Something that I know quite a bit about. I've been speaking to 2 or 3 people about it. It's punitive. And the way that you can actually appeal these punitive measures is really screwed up. I'll do another video on it in depth at one point, but the way they are coming down on people and they're not giving any avenue for them to appeal, blatant lies and falsehoods, is incredible. It really is. It'll blow your mind away. Anyway, it says here, Kartik Raj, the Western Europe researcher at Human Rights Watch, called the government's policies, quote, cruel and harmful. This rise in hunger has the UK's government's fingerprints all over it, Raj said. The organisation said it was a hunger crisis, saying the UK ignored the evidence that poor families' standing of living has deteriorated. A government spokesperson, this is their response from the government, from the DWP. They said, the UK's Department for Work and Pensions said in a statement to Euronews that they are, quote, helping parents move into work and give families the best opportunity to move out of poverty. We spend 95 billion a year on working age benefits, and we're supporting over 1 million of the country's most disadvantaged children through free school meals. Meanwhile, we've confirmed that the benefit freeze will end next year, a government spokesperson said. So they're basically saying, hey, listen, we're spending 95 billion. What are you talking about? This is nonsense. I've heard the report from that's come out from the United Nations rapporteur today. The DWP have responded to that report, which is likening it to workhouses, and much in a similar vein to this from Human Rights. He's damning on what the governments have done to the poor and the needy in this country. They responded by saying the report is barely believable. That's their quote. It's barely believable. It's unreal, isn't it? Barely believable. No wonder. Poverty causing misery in the UK and ministers are in denial, says the United Nations official. This is the rapporteur. He says he spoke to MPs and they're in denial that this is going on. Look at what the DWP responded to it. They are in denial. They're literally just saying, no, that's not the case. If it's pissing down with rain outside, they'll say, no, it's not raining at all. We spend all this money on sun cream. It's not raining out there. It's essentially what they're doing. It's nonsense. And let me remind you exactly why we are in this mess and why millions of people in this country are suffering right now. Why? 1 in 5 families in this country are in poverty or below the poverty line. Borderline starvation. 1 in 5 families. Was because of this. Primarily, the bank bailout in 2008. A bank rescue package totalling some 500 billion, say Wikipedia. It wasn't 500 billion, that's £500 billion, by the way. Most estimates put it at around 850 billion. I personally think it's around about £1 trillion that they bailed the bank out with. But somewhere between £500 billion and £1 trillion. £1 trillion! I just want to read you at the bottom here. Not a single bank chief or chairman went to prison in the United Kingdom or the United States. All of this was because some bankers made a Ponzi scheme where they all got extremely fucking rich. They broke the financial system as a result of it. And we, the people, had to bail them out. None of them went to jail, and since those people have gone on to make billions in what has been described as the largest transfer of wealth to the 1% in history. The top 1,000 people in the 10 years since then in this country have tripled their wealth, their cumulative wealth. Tripled. This is who's making a fortune. They're making a fortune. Ordinary people are not. Let me remind you of just how big that bailout was, just so you can get your head around just how screwed up it is that they are making the poor pay for this. This is the welfare budget according to the Office for National Statistics. It says 264 billion was spent on welfare in 2017. You can see there the DWP are saying 95 billion. So if they're spending 95 billion, look at how they're spending it. First of all, the pensions of that 254 billion is 111 billion. So you can take that out. Those people have paid that in already. That's what they get for paying in to the pension, the tax, etc. So all of that, they could have paid. The rest of that, the incapacity benefit, the unemployment benefit, the housing benefit, family benefits, support and tax credits, personal social services and other benefits, they could have paid all of that between 5 and 10 years on the trot. They could have almost, with the amount that they bailed out the bankers 10 years ago, they could have almost paid for all of the government spending on welfare minus the pensions since that time. That's how much they bailed these bastards out. None of them went to prison for it. There were no drawbacks to it for these bankers. There was none. The worst thing that happened over here was Sir Fred Goodwin of RBS is now just called Fred Goodwin. He had to hand back his knighthood. That's it. And they made you pay for it for 10 years. And when a United Nations rapporteur says, this is cruel and unusual punishment, this is terrible. When Human Rights Watch say, look at what you're doing to the poor in this country, MPs in this country say, la 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 la. That's the way they're dealing with it. Sooner or later, The people of this country are going to figure out just how badly they have been fucked for the last 10 years. And when they do, they are going to be in the streets. I promise you, it's around the corner. I really do think so. I can't imagine that I can't believe it's gone this far. But then when I look in throughout history and I look at the revolutions that have happened in our country and others, it's always the same. People are amazed that it gets as far as it did before something happens to break the camel's back. And people are out in the streets and revolution comes. You know what? I think it's round the corner, which could explain why the media are so quiet on certain stories that really are so important, and they should be screaming about it right now. That's the situation. The government of this country have bailed out the rich, have persecuted the poor, have made them pay for it, and they're then saying, I don't know what you're talking about. It's barely believable, this report is. Carry on, MPs, because sooner or later, people are going to be in the streets with the pitchforks. And you know what? I'm going to be there to film it. Probably cheer them on. Thanks very much for watching. Please make sure you subscribe. Please click the bell below to make sure you get notified of when I drop any further videos. And please click through to the website as well to find out ways you can support me. Can't do these without your support, and I really do appreciate it. Thanks very much. Until next time. Peace and take care.